Hello. I've just 3D printed a little clip there. I don't know if you can make it out because I was so fed up of not having my little light on my new DJI action cam that I just made a clip and it clips in there, and I hit lucky with the 3D print. Whew. So it's mid-morning, and the reason it's mid-morning is I've been getting sidetracked by little jobs. First of all, as I was getting my mask prepared, a random rogue paint pot, lovely pink colour, exploded over the whole floor. So I spent about an hour getting that off motorbikes, bikes, the floor. So that's how I spent my first hour of the morning. And I've spent about half an hour doing this. So, excuse me, this is the gaff, this is the mizzen mast, and there's the main mast. And these are all the main mast is so big, it's unbelievable. But these are suspended so we can give them their first coat of epoxy. I will be glad when this is over. I'm also sweating because it's like, I don't know what it is, about 17 degrees in here for the epoxy, and I'm totally not used to that at the moment. So yeah, so anyway, without any further ado, we're going to clean these pieces of wood down. We're going to get them all epoxied, and then the reason I've hung them like this is because I've got little screws at the bottom. It means I'll be able to epoxy the whole thing and not have any bits left over that, it just adds days onto the time to do them. So we're going to give it a go. There we go. 3 masts or 2 masts and a gaff and 1 coat of epoxy. So when that's cured, tomorrow probably we'll get the second coat on, and then it'll be a case of getting all this wood you can see, apart from the bits that I deck soil, but all the wood you see will be varnished, and then hopefully after that it's a bit downhill. Got loads of bits coming for the boat later today, so looking forward to getting those. Hello. We've got a little shipment come in, and it's all to do with the electrics on board the boat. So first of all, I've got, this is 20 meters, and this is 2mm squared twin core wire. It's automotive wire, so it's waterproof, and it's really multi-threaded inside, so it will stay nice and bendy. And this is, I think it's roughly 14 AWG, and the outer sheath, okay, so it's 6.7, supposed to be a bit thinner, but you can see it almost looks like home cabling, doesn't it? But I think that's going to be the right cable for the boat. Next up is these. So let's have a little look. These are inline fuses. So what you do, you just snip them in the middle, and then you put a standard blade fuse. I didn't realise it came with fuses. 20 amp. So you just get whatever fuse you need in there. I'm so sorry. I'm still suffering a little bit with my flu/cough I've had. And then that will just limit, it'll fuse this rather than, damage the battery or trip the battery. So, anything, especially like pumps and maybe even a solar charger, you can put an inline fuse on anything really. So I've got a few of those. It's just cheaper to buy 5s than it is like 1, to be honest with you. I've got some clips, and these clips, I'm hoping I can epoxy them on the inside of the boat. They're just see-through clips, and they do come with some tape, but I'll probably need to Sikaflex those on. Now, they don't look big enough, do they, for this? So let's have a quick look. They may be, oh dear, well that's that one broke. They may be, just about do it. Let's see. No, they're not very good. They just break. Good job I got 100 here. Let's see if we can just get this squeezed in. Otherwise, that's going to be... Well, they don't look... That does not look very happy. It seems to bend too much. Next thing, we've got heat shrink wire connectors. I don't have any. These are proper connectors. If you need to connect two pieces of wire, and then they heat shrink, and they're IP68, and they are super waterproof. What else have we got here? We have got... Well, these are interesting. These are SAE connectors. So these are, again, quite common in the car industry. And I bought them with these. So these come with little waterproof covers. And then what these are a decked version of that. So that can plug into here. Now, the idea is that I could have one of those as the input to my solar charger. And by the way, these are waterproof connectors, well, even when they're in use. And then what I can have is that on the deck. And then what I can have is a cable running from my solar panel, or a cable I can just connect up quickly to my engine, and I will plug whichever one is in use at the time into there, and that will charge my battery. And that's the idea anyway. And I just like the idea of this little, instead of a gland, I'm just actually using a connector. Comes with nice screws there as well. So hopefully, with a little bit of butyl tape maybe, we can cut out a nice little part for this in the deck, and then that'll be a really good connector. I've got two of these, so I thought the other one could actually be used for the tiller pilot, if we can find, somewhere where the tiller pilot, this, if we can find somewhere for this to go on the boat. I'm not sure about that though, but I've got another one anyway because they came in pairs. These obviously I've got 5 of those. These would just be really good for connecting things together when you need them. And last but not least, these are called bonded seal washers. I didn't think these were coming till now later. Don't look big enough, do they, those? Don't look big enough, but hopefully they will be. Now, let's go over to the rudder, which is just over here. So here's my rudder. Now, I've actually taken the top off it, the stock off the top, which is this. And the reason was, in the end, I thought, you know what, I think I need to take that off and have a closer look at the little hole that is there. And because I'm not really getting any joy with those pins. Now, they're not so big, they're too big, aren't they? But they might still work, these might. The idea of this was to put a few washers in here. On the Pettigrew's website, it does recommend doing that. Yeah, that'll go on. If we clean this up, that'll go on nicely. So imagine we've got the stock at the right place. These are literally supposed to be there to just keep the wear and tear off the stock here. But I also thought perhaps they'll also, if we have enough of them, we could actually raise the stock off the floor a little bit, and doing that we may be able to raise the tiller arm a little bit more as well, so we don't have to worry so much with the tiller arm being too upright. It just gives us 2 ways to do it, and this way is probably a little bit more eloquent. And I got these rubber ones because I thought they were small enough to stick there, but unfortunately they're not. So what we don't want is them coming down to here when we take the rudder out, because we'll have to constantly bring them up there. I think the problem is these days that a lot of the things on the Drascombe are sort of imperial, so they're sort of done in inches and and quarters and whatever they are. But today, obviously, everything's in metric, so in Europe anyway. So, everything's in metric, so it's always an approximation, getting the size right. So that's probably what I think the problem is here. Those are 26 mil, but the thickness of that of this is actually an inch, which is like 2.54 mil. But if I get the 2.5 mil washer, I've got those, they don't fit. So it's a pain, really. But anyway, there we go. I've also got my package from Seashore. Not Seashore, Seascrews. And this is a place, it's just seascrew.co.uk, I think. And they sell loads of chandlery. Reasonable prices. Never bought from them before until now. And the more I sort of browsed the online shop, the more I got into it. So I bought a whole load of stuff here. It looks like a lot, but actually it didn't cost much at all. So okay. That was a bit bigger than I thought it was. So this shackle was really for when I get a life jacket. They were just so cheap, I thought I'd buy one now. 316 stainless steel. In fact, everything here is 316 stainless steel, other than this, which is a boat hook. That's a bit big. That's very big. That'll probably do. Do you know what? I totally need a tow rope for my van, so it'll do for that. So anyway, there we go. It's only like £3 or £4. Everything in here is quite cheap. So I've got. Let's go through things one by one. First of all, I've got a load of screws. Loads of screws. Didn't quite get the right sizes I wanted. All the sizes. Didn't do a 1 3/4 size, but they're all stainless. These ones, there's a couple of panhead, but they're all mostly countersunk screws for my to replace all the rusty screws on my cleats mainly. Okay, now these are what are known as twist shackles, and they're like a shackle but they're twisted. So when you get a block, this will be this way round rather than that way round. So I've been recommended to use one of these on the centerboard attachment. So because it puts the pulley the right way round, and it's the pulley that gets stuck and the ropes go side on and it gets stuck in the slot. So that should help resolve that. I had no idea what size to get, so I got both sizes, and hopefully they'll fit. I've got another idea for the other ones, so they're not going to be to waste. These are for the blocks that will hold on my bilge pump tube underneath the floorboards of the boat. However, I've also got some new clip. I've just looked at buying some new clips that use the sort of little tie-it straps, and I was thinking I bought them big enough so they'll do my wiring, and they'll also be able to do maybe keep the tube in place, and they'll be really flat and close to the bottom. So well, I might not use these, but these will always come in handy at home. I've got some bow shackles. 8mm bow shackle. They are not as big as I thought they were going to be, but these are for anchors, and I just need bow shackles because I just need the ability to sort of shackle up to things, and I do need a little spare one. So and one of my anchors doesn't have a really very good shackle. So these now. Oh, there's some more screws. Right, let's have a little look. More shackles. So these are the right size for going at the top. Let me just find the other one I had. Oh, it's here. Yeah, brilliant. So they're the right size. These are going to connect my shrouds to my masthead. you get little discounts for buying 4, 4 and 5. So I got a few more of those. I may as well put that one in there to be with that. So they're good. And then these are all to do. Oh, I'll do this. Talk about this one first. This is just a boat hook top. Fits a 30mm wooden pole. Now, I've got a bit of wooden pole here. I thought rather than I was going to make a boat hook out of rope, and I was going to epoxy it and use the whole Sven Erlwind methodology. But actually, it turns out I think this will be a bit better. This was like £2.40. I think, you know, it's going to be really strong. And, you know, my boat hook, I don't have the ability to push things away or push ropes away or things like that. So this will be able to allow me, you know, it's a proper boat hook, so it will allow me to hook and push away and prod as well by the looks of it. And then this is a little bit big for the stick, but all you do is you put the stick in and then you fill this up with a bit of epoxy and then just screw it in, and it sets solid, and it should be a good boat hook end then, and that's gonna create a boat hook for me. Can go over there. And now we come to all these. Now these are what I call these lacing hooks, and you may have seen these on my boat. I've got loads of these in the deck, and I tie off my little inner cover that I put on when I'm moored up onto these. Now, these are A4 316. They're all 316 stainless. I've also got some of these as well, and I'm not lying, they're not very expensive, so I just bought a few, and these are like single ones. I've got with me, I've always got, let's put this camera up a bit. I've always got stuff that I'm trying to finish, stuff that I'm embarking on for real, and you know, those projects that I need to kind of get done. And then I've got stuff that I'm thinking about for the future. And this is all about tents, spray covers, sunshades, and, you know, little mini spray covers. And I'm starting to think about all this sort of tent business at the moment. And of course, these are all to do with that. So I got some black nylon ones because I don't know, I just did. They were quite cheap. I mean, they're like 30p each. These were. Excuse me. These are other lacing hooks. So, you know, I think these will be quite strong in that way, and you can also sort of tilt them a little bit. I was wondering about having like a heavy duty spray cover on the bow of the boat. There's a guy in the Drascombe forum that I've got quite friendly with recently, and he's been giving me loads of tips. You want to check out his YouTube channel. He's called Steve Portier, so I'll put a link in the description of the video. And he's just got a lugger, and he sells it in the North Sea, and it's amazing how much you learn from people like that. And he's made a spray cover for his boat, and it stops, you know, if the boat's bow does happen to plough into the, you know, big wave, then you've got half a chance of the water, you know, shedding and not drowning you and getting into the cockpit of the boat. So, you know, these are all to do with that, and I'm thinking about making a spray cover for the bow of the boat. I'm thinking about a little shady cover that, you know, if it's searing heat but you still want to sail, you know, so you want, you know, an adjustable height shade maybe. I'm thinking about all kinds of things. Tent, of course. Now these are more to do with the tent. So either way, I think I'm veering towards, as my first tent, to do an A-frame one, which will have either a rope or a solid piece of wood that will run in the apex of it. But then it will just get tied straight to the gunnels or over the gunnels of the boat. So, you know, I'm either faced up with having to put some of these kind of clips, and these are like what I call these fairleads, but they're called formed bar lacing or lacing eye straps, but you know, in the mirror dinghy world, these are kind of called fairleads as well. Now, these, let's get one out. They're both the same, but they're in a slightly different style. Let me get one. Oh, I can't get one out. But let's put the camera back down here. So you can see that this one is like that flat bar metal, and this one is sort of rounded off. I quite like that. That feels really strong. Whereas this one you could probably bend. Now, these will probably go, the idea is under the gunnel, I'm hoping, because that way they'll be completely out the way, and then the tent will then have either some elastic or string that will go through there, round, and maybe, you know, back on itself in some way, and that should pull the tent sides down over the gunnels. Now, when I've seen other people do this, they've actually used either these or more of this sort of thing, the lacing hook. Just get one of those out as well. But they've put them into the hull of the boat, much lower down than the gunnels, you know, more like 6 inches, so the tent really overlaps. So if I do it just under the gunnels, the tent might not overlap enough, you know, it might flip in, and I don't know if, you know, if the wind blows, I don't know. But at the end of the day, I've got nothing to lose other than putting a few screw holes in the teak wood, you know, which, you know, we can live with that. But these, if I were to put these in my hull, then I'm going to have to probably bolt them, and then the bolts are going to show up on the inside where you actually sit. Now, I don't think they're going to be in the way too much, but, you know, if you fall and you put a hand down, they could, you know, could be quite nasty for your hand. And also, I don't really want to bolt anything through the fiberglass if possible, but, you know, I could try and Sikaflex them, you know, and see how it goes. But obviously things like that have a habit of failing at completely the wrong time as well. So, you know, all this will be experimental, and that's why I've not got like hundreds of them so far. That's probably why I got the nylon ones, because these you know, might Sikaflex a bit better, stick to a bit better, or epoxy to the boat a little bit better, so we don't have to you know, drill holes in the boat. And then these are basically, they do the same job as those, except they're quite flat. And these are actually for webbing instead. Now, I was thinking that instead of using elastic or a piece of string tied to the tent, which is actually quite difficult to sort of sew into the tent, you could actually have some webbing or Velcro, and sew that to the tent nicely, and that would go through here and then Velcro back onto the tent. So I'm thinking that might be a better idea, and these again would go under the gunnels or even on the side of the gunnel. I'd rather they were under the gunnel. Now, what we've got to work out is how much room there is behind here to get the Velcro around, because I don't know whether the gunnel overlaps that much, so they might have to go on the side of the gunnel. I don't know. But either way, you know, they've just given me another idea. It's come. I've been waiting for this for like a week. This is from Drascombe, UK. Some things you just got to buy from your boat builder. And some things are just better to buy from the people that know, you know. And, you know, you get good advice. So, and you know you get the right things then. What? Maybe chop my fingers off. So let's have a little look what's in here. I've kind of forgotten what the heck was in here. So let's have a look. Right, yes, okay. First things first. So that is a new backboard for the boat. Oh, it needs in need of a good sand, that is, and I'm assuming you can deck soil that. It's very heavy. My one's cracked. I actually really needed these pieces, but they've cracked mine. Proper split actually all the way through. So I think this comes as one piece. Oh no, it doesn't. There's screws in it. But anyway, it was as cheap to buy the whole thing rather than just the board. So there's that. Okay, that's all that's in the box. Then what have we got in here? Oh, okay. I was like, what the heck is that? Copper pins. And these are leathers and wedges. So, I mean, they're only cheap. They're like 11 quid. And that, I believe, that one goes round the mast. So where the mast rubs the thwart, you can put that in and tack them in. I believe this one goes around the bumpkin, maybe. Well, I've got wedges for the mizzen mast, which look like those. I've got a wedge for the foot of the mizzen mast, which I don't know. And then I've got a wedge for the bumpkin. Anything else in there? So I can cut the hole out and then pull the bumpkin into the boat. And I think what you then do is you use this to sort of wedge the bumpkin in. It's an odd shape though. I'll have to double check that. Now in here is some. Okay. Don't know what that is. Liquid, but that's probably something to do with the gel coat. So I've got a little tin of gel coat here just to fill holes. You know, there are holes in the I've filled some holes in the deck. Oh, okay. And I've only got one set of those, not two. Okay, that's interesting. So I'm pretty sure I need a set of those. And then I've got some shrouds as well. So there we go. Shrouds.